amnesty, the first and last amnesty under President Reagan in 1986 was promised as the end of amnesty. We're never going to do this again. You know, we have this small population, and there were actually two amnesties in that 1986 bill. One was an agricultural worker amnesty, and the number of illegal agricultural workers estimated by the government at that time was about 350,000. So 350,000 in that amnesty, and then a general amnesty for anyone who had been here prior to 1982. And that, the government said, would be right around 1 million. Well, it turned out that the government estimates were vastly low. And of course, there was a bunch of fraud, so we ended up giving amnesty to over 3 million people. And then they got their green cards, and then they got citizenship. And then they started sponsoring their family members. And legal immigration surged because their family members were coming in. And illegal immigration surged because we had just announced to the world that we don't take our laws seriously. So the result of the 1986 amnesty was millions more legal immigrants and 12 plus million illegal aliens. And again, remember, that's a government estimate. So then we had the Senator Durbin, basically, along with various other non-allies of ours, like Senator Graham, have tried for 21 years now to pass the DREAM Act. And they have failed because it's a bad bill. And the American people know it's a bad bill, and we don't like amnesty. But they've continued to try. Well, after it failed the last time in 2010, President Obama said, well, you know, I'll just do it myself. So he came up with DACA. Now, DACA is actually a relatively limited amnesty. It's still an amnesty, but it's relatively limited. It only applies to people who were under 16 years of age, supposedly, when they were brought here. Now, who can prove that? They also had to be under 31 on June 15th of 2012 when it was put in place. So there's an upper age limit and a lower age limit. They couldn't have a felony conviction or 3 serious misdemeanors. I mean, you know, you could still have a criminal record. You could still have some domestic abuse or some, you know, DUI on your record, but nothing too serious. And you had to either be in high school, have graduated from high school, gotten a GED, or be working toward one of those, or join the military. So we have right now, at the supposed end date of this program, and we'll see how the courts let that go, we've got 690,000 current DACA recipients. Okay, 690,000 between the ages basically of 16 and 36 right now. There are also 33,000 pending applications. So we may have a total population of 723,000. If they get amnesty, which means a green card, and then they can become citizens, they will likely bring in roughly 3 million family members, including the parents who brought them here illegally, who we all say, well, they didn't, you know, they were brought here through no fault of their own. It was their parents' fault. So we're going to give them green cards too, of course. So the total potential amnesty impact of DACA, just DACA, is 3.8 million roughly people coming into or getting legal status, competing for jobs with Americans, and being eligible for welfare and earned income tax credits and additional child tax credits. And, you know, we've already given them a public education. So that would be the impact there. The DREAM Act is a whole other ballgame. So when you see reporters switching seamlessly between DACA and the DREAM Act, and the president does this sometimes too, the DREAM Act has no upper age limit, and the lower age limit is you have to have been brought here before you were 18. So there's a whole bigger group of people. The Migration Policy Institute says that the likely eligible population is roughly 3 million. So that's just the so-called kids, 3 million. If 3 million are given amnesty, the chain migration impact would be 14 million. So now we have gone from a total of 3.8 million for DACA to 17 plus million for the DREAM Act. There's a little bit of a difference there, and nobody's focusing on it. So, you've got right now Republicans falling all over themselves to figure out a humane way to save these children who are no longer children. You've got Democrats insisting that the DREAM Act is the only way they will go along with it. And you've got President Trump, who is, I don't know where. I have no idea. So I will tell you one thing we should have learned from history. We cannot trade amnesty for enforcement. It doesn't work. If you don't have enforcement already in place, all you're going to do is put up a welcome sign and say, come on in to the next wave of illegal aliens, and then there will be another amnesty and another amnesty and another amnesty. So that's the first thing. So we cannot talk about, well, we'll trade DACA amnesty for the wall. No, build the wall. We cannot trade DACA amnesty for E-Verify. No, put E-Verify in place. Put it in place now. Defund sanctuary cities. Enforce the laws now. Then come back and tell us how well you're doing, and let's have a conversation. But the second thing is, we cannot, absolutely cannot, have an amnesty when we have chain migration in our legal immigration system. Because any amnesty means massive amnesty. Because, we're talking about largely people from countries that have much larger family sizes than the United States. And our legal immigration laws allow parents, in-laws, adult siblings who can bring their spouses and children, who can then sponsor, the other spouse can sponsor her parents and their siblings. I mean, it goes on literally forever. We can't afford this. The other thing is the parents of these, DACA aliens or dreamers, they are getting toward retirement age. So if they are allowed to come in as green card holders, they will be eligible for Social Security benefits. They'll be eligible for Medicare. They'll be eligible, they're almost all low-wage workers, so they will be getting earned income tax credits. They will be eligible for, food stamps, the whole deal. And again, we've already provided their kids with public education. So this is a huge problem that we are facing now that I really didn't think, and I certainly didn't think it would be in the first 9 months. But here we are. So the one thing that I will tell you that gives me great hope is all of you. Because the American people consistently have stopped amnesty. We have been able to tell Congress no. And Eagle Forum has been a key player in that message. And there is nobody on the Hill who was willing to say to Phyllis Schlafly's face, I'm going to vote for amnesty. Not one of them. Now, they might have done it behind her back, but they didn't say it to her face. So we're going to need help on this. My organization, NumbersUSA, we have several million grassroots people across the country. They are furious. I keep hoping that we're going to get some signal from the White House that they were just kidding, or I don't know, but it's not coming. And so we need to get our allies on the Hill to stand strong against this. The most likely way that this is defeated is if it essentially stalls until after March. But the next 3 months, when all of the must-pass bills are coming before Congress, all the spending bills, the debt ceiling, they've just created their own new cliff in the middle of December. Every must-pass bill is a potential rider for an amnesty. And we're going to have to be vigilant, and we're going to have to channel Phyllis, and we're going to have to stop this because our country cannot afford it. And it's not just people from Mexico and Central America. There are a lot of folks who are in the country illegally from the Muslim countries that the refugees are coming from some very scary places. And we don't know who they are. And you can't verify. They're undocumented. Well, of course, most of them have documents. They're just stolen or fake. But we have no way of verifying who they are, if they've committed crimes, if they're murderers, if they've committed genocide, if they've committed human rights violations somewhere else. We have no idea. But apparently our elected leaders think it would be a good idea to bring them in. So if this happens, this will reverse all of the good that the president has done, all of the good that Attorney General Sessions has done. When President Trump came into office, for the first 3 months or so, border apprehensions went down by over 70%. And they're going back up. Every month, they go higher and higher. And it's because of this. They were going higher initially because DACA was still there, and we were still getting it's the family units and the unaccompanied children who are the main component of those crossing the border illegally right now. And that's going to go up again. I guarantee you. You watch the numbers in the media, it's going to go up again because of this conversation about amnesty. So if you need to find ways to do your part, I will be working closely with Tabitha over here. And we will be sharing information, and we also have a lot available on our website at NumbersUSA.com. I really hope that you all will join with us once again and stop this.